Hello again, friends, and it is a joy to be together. I am Dorothy Lau, your host today for the Rooted Asian American Youth Ministry Roundtable podcast. I serve as the youth director at CBCM, which is the Chinese Bible Church of Maryland in Rockville, Maryland of the DC Metro. With me today are my two pastor friends, fathers, not my father, but they are fathers. Okay. Occasional goons, including myself, I suppose, and committed followers of Jesus. But of course, they can tell us more about themselves. You don't have to hear it from me. So do share a bit about yourself and where you are, but also maybe on a more edifying note, what is a joy and a challenge about being in pastoral ministry? Let's start with you, Terrence.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Terrence Shay. I'm the family pastor at First Chinese Baptist Church of Walnut. We are in Southern California, and I am going to be wrapping up my 9th year here, and the school year is upon us, and so there's a lot going on. What is a joy of pastoral ministry? I think is seeing God work through seasons that goes beyond maybe how we normally plan. So you kind of plan for a year at a time, maybe plan for a generation at a time, if you're talking about high school. But to see that at every step, whether you're sowing seed, whether you're counseling, whether you're preaching and teaching, whether you're building relationships, that things hardly ever happen in the limited amount of time that we give it in our calendars. But when you are around somewhere long enough and you see God open hearts and transform lives in our young people's experiences, that's great. That's a joy, because on one hand, wow, you had a part in it, but you also have to be honest and humble and realize that, well, it wasn't you, it was God, and God used you, and what a privilege that is.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So good, Terrence. Hello, everyone. My name is Huey, and I currently serve as the worship and young adults pastor at Christ Central Presbyterian Church in Centerville, Virginia, which is about 25 minutes west of Washington, D.C. I've been in and out of youth ministry for about 18 years prior to that, and still very invested, engaged. I have 2 older sons who are in youth ministry now, so I care about youth ministry and the health of youth ministry as much as I've had in the past. So good to be here with you. Joy in ministry is, when you step into the world of ministry, I really do think you get to experience the heart of God for his people. And you get to kind of understand and grasp the depth of God's love for his people, his commitment to see his people thrive and flourish. So that's been such a joy, just being able to experience that. I think a challenge is really believing the gospel when you're in ministry,
Mm-hmm.
especially in seasons when you feel like you're not good enough, to really believe that that's okay, because God is big enough for it, and that God is good enough for it. And it's just kind of the challenge to really believe what you're wanting to give away to people. I believe that God loves you just as much as he loves you, the people that you're ministering to, So that's a challenge, I think a daily challenge, at least for me. So yeah.
And that's today's podcast, everyone. So, no, thank you so much for sharing, Huey. I think a lot of us can agree, as much as give those snaps in acknowledgement too, that for sure the joy of being in ministry is also seeing God at work and the fruit that can come from it, but also not relying so much on that fruit to keep us going. And juxtaposed with the challenge that we need to follow God, not just help others follow God. And some seasons are harder than others. Some seasons are maybe more enjoyable than others, but it's always a reminder that it's not about us. It's about what the Lord does. So thank you, brothers, for introducing yourself and going from 0 to 95 in that short amount of time. But as we are in this second part of our monthly podcast, so far we have been talking about the Rooted Conference and risen it up, and we're looking forward to it to come very, very soon, from the 23rd to the 25th of October at Christ Church Lake Forest in the northern suburb of Chicago. So, last time we talked about what keeps us going back to the Rooted Conference and what to look forward to, and also some assurance that we were giving to our first time conference goers. Now, today we're going to talk a little bit more about what we mentioned last time, which is the pre conference. Now, this is optional, but it's also a lunch. So, there's a little bit of distraction free involved. I mean, everyone's got to eat, you know what I'm saying? So, uh, let's look forward to what is offered for the pre-conference. Terrence, can you tell us what exactly is a pre-conference and what do we have among those options?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we have two excellent options for the pre-conference. And the pre-conference is, as exactly described and advertised, it's that there's a conference that's taking place, and this is a gathering of people before that in an intentional setting to focus and target a particular aspect of ministry. And so let me introduce the first one, which is Teach with Confidence. And this is a pre-conference hosted by Youth Pastor Theologian. And this is our good friend Mike McGarry's ministry. And we're grateful that him and a colleague, John Gardner, is going to use this pre-conference time slot from 11:30 to 3 p.m. local to be able to help the attendees to study and to prepare teachings and messages and also lessons that are true to scripture and true to the gospel, but then also relevant and contextualized for youth ministry. So if you're interested in sharpening that aspect of your craft, please join us at that particular pre-conference. Now, the second pre-conference, which we're a little bit closer to, as a part of the steering committee in terms of planning and prayer and preparation, is the one that we are hosting as the Asian American Steering Committee, which is themed Thriving in Ministry.
Okay.
And in this particular pre-conference, same time, 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. local, we're going to have two main speakers. We're going to have President Joel Kim of Westminster Seminary, California, here in Southern California as well.
Okay.
He's going to come, and we're also going to have our good friend, Pastor Jason Tarn, who is currently serving in Houston, to come in and teach and preach to us about how it is that we're able to be vibrant and thriving in ministry for the long run. And so come to hear that, come to be present and to meet all of us that are going to be there and to be able to just get the conference going with like a bang by being able to attend and being present with those of us that'll be there.
That was an excellent commercial, Terrence. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, do you fellas know these guys personally or loosely in any way?
Yeah, I've met President Joel Kim
President.
times. He is a phenomenal preacher and communicator of the gospel. That's like one thing that stands out to me from the very beginning. So I think we all should be excited to hear it.
That's quality right there. Okay. Terrence, do you know any of the speakers for the pre-conference?
Yeah, I know Jason in person as well. We actually had cross paths way before we were connected through even Rooted or Chinese Heritage Church Collaborative. We had met each other just through common friends, and we were on the same campus at the same time for some classes. And so I met him then, and it was great. So he's somebody that even though he's out in Houston, we are aware of a lot of the things that he is doing as the leader of his church. And so I'm really looking forward to how he, as an English pastor, a lead pastor of an immigrant church, is going to bring to the table to encourage us as youth pastors, family pastors, and also just people that have a burden for the next generation.
Do you know where you're called? Shortly after his conversion, Adoniram Judson discerned his call to international missions alongside several of his classmates at seminary. At Judson College, we want you too to discern your calling and prepare for a lifetime of disciple making in a vibrant Christian community. At Judson College, it is our mission to equip students to give their lives for the cause of Christ in the church, among the nations, and in every aspect of society. Through the courses, relationships, and culture you experience here at Judson, you will be well equipped to serve Jesus wherever he calls you, in whatever context or career. To learn more about our variety of degrees, world-class faculty, and enduring mission to equip students as ambassadors for Christ, visit judsoncollege.edu.
Remind me, what's the topic of the Asian American pre-conference?
Thriving in ministry.
Thriving in ministry. Okay. Maybe some of us listening are thinking, oh, it's thriving. I just need to survive, you know?
Ah,
Ooh, What that makes me think of is one of the like deep challenges and difficulties, but something that really helps those serving in immigrant churches to grow in resilience is knowing that anthropologically, if your parents are immigrants or if you know of immigrants in your church, when they come to a new country, they're in survival mode.
Mm.
Sometimes, no matter how long they've been in this country, they're still in survival mode. So, in a way, I've had conversations with other ministry colleagues and friends and just fellow Asian Americans, like second, maybe third gen, where it's really a luxury to even attempt to thrive, let alone even in ministry. Because some churches, despite their progress or their size, they feel like they still have to just try to make it, but they've already made it, but they're still thinking in this mom and pop mentality when they're already like more of a not quite a franchise, but they're just a larger organization. So for sure, I think it's such a gem to look forward to this topic because, well, for one, I'm not really sure how to interpret what it is to thrive in immigrant
Yeah.
ministry. But I can imagine that there's a number of us in different ethnic spaces who are thinking, how can I thrive when I'm barely surviving? Or how can we thrive when we have the budget, but we don't want to use it? I don't know, right? different, different struggles across the board. But considering the pre-conference itself, so we know what it is and who's leading it, we have Jason Tarn and Joel Kim. But also for those who think, well, I mean, maybe on my flights don't really work out, or it's just another cost. And if it's optional, optional use it usually means like I don't gotta go, right? So maybe Huey, could you provide some persuasive perspective for those who may be uh nominal or agnostic towards the validity of participating in the pre-conference. Is it worth it to go among the two, or what benefit is there? What if I don't go?
Yeah. I mean, I want to kind of piggyback off of what you said about thriving, versus surviving. I think thriving has a lot to do with running the race with people, right? Like I
Mm,
think you're at a better place to thrive in ministry, whether you're in a Asian American context or not, or immigrant context or not.
mhm,
You're in the trenches with people.
mhm,
What I love about what we get to do in our Asian American pre-conference is, like, I love the size of Rooted Conference. It's like in the hundreds, and you're not going to get lost in the crowd too much. I love that. But within the Asian American pre-conference, it actually makes the conference feel much smaller too. And actually from the very beginning. So when you kind of arrive a little bit earlier on Thursday and you get kind of plugged into a pre-conference, you're already starting the conference with familiar people, and we're not just kind of passively, here teaching from Reverend Joel and Jason, but you're going to be in small groups with people that are in the trenches of youth ministry, and you actually get to have conversations like over lunch and have conversations after each talk. So you're just kind of processing out loud what you've heard, and you get to kind of share some of the struggles and the burdens that you're bringing to the conference. And that's like your first day of the conference. And then you have the next 2.5 days to kind of build on that a little bit. So I feel like pre-conference is a great way to feel like you're not alone in the conference and in ministry. And again, I think thriving in ministry has a lot to do with knowing people that you're running the race with, knowing people that you are in ministry
it is.
alongside.
Mhm.
And in the several years that I've been part of the Asian American Pre-Conference, I've seen people come back, right? So it's so neat to see people that I met like several years ago, see them at the pre-conference, and we get to catch up and see how life and ministry has been over the years, right? So you really do form friendship along the way.
Mhm.
So that would just, I feel like even that in itself is so worth it outside of just kind of the topic and the speaker. So I would totally recommend the pre-conference, especially for our Asian American sisters and brothers, or those that are serving in Asian American ministry context. This would be so worth it. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can agree more with Huey. I mean, even my history of Rooted, and my connection with you guys, I met Dorothy at the Asian American pre-conference. And I remember it being this kind of a dark, kind of medieval looking room. Well, maybe
The
it's a
library?
stretch. Yeah, yeah. It was kind of a dark room. And then it was, people from Huey's church that was doing some of the presentation and teaching. And I'm just sitting there. It was me and my youth pastor at the time, and we didn't know anyone else. But just being in that room, you kind of felt like, wait, we're about to spend this week together with this group of people. And there was so much just organic connections that were built, and people meeting each other, and then people, just kind of seeing who each other were, that then carried out for the rest of the conference in very practical and beneficial ways. And so that pre-conference is almost like a little bit of our, like, almost like an orientation and wind up, to the conference itself. So I really loved it. It was really great, and it has grown both in substance and also in participation since even when we met in 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just so excited to see, how God is going to continue to bring us into the conference, almost like a little family reunion before the conference,
Mhm.
to have that be, useful and a blessing. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also love that it's our Asian American Steering Committee that leads the small group time, the affinity groups during that time too. So
Mhm.
we get to actually meet the people that we are planning the pre-conference for.
Mhm.
Like in person. We're not kind of these like big names that are like off to the side, but we're like actually with them during the pre-conference, and it's such a joy to meet people from just different places. But in those conversations, we end up saying a lot of things like, "Oh, you're going through that too. I've gone through that. I'm going through that." So there's just a lot of affection and care for one another.
Yeah.
So I love that.
No, it really is that vibe when you're in the room. And especially when we start finding out maybe like there's like geographical connections or denominational network connections,
Mhm.
you could just start a conversation with someone and there's a lot of context that you already know. Oh, I get that. You're going through that. I've been there. Or, this, conflict in your church or this frustration in your setting. Oh yeah, I get you. It's like you don't even have to say it. You just
Mhm.
know because we've in one way or another kind of lived it probably in our own experience or culture. So I love that because that is something that sets the pre-conference apart from the main conference, which is a much more, in a sense, mainstream, more broad, um, Americanized in a sense of a conference. But just in the pre-conference, it's we're able to really connect really well.
If we consider the many options that exist for gatherings at the Rooted conference, I think I would personally recommend that if you're gonna if you're gonna commit to really participating in any of the sessions, this is actually super worthwhile. And I'm not just saying that because we're on the steering committee for Asian American ministry here, but I think more importantly is mm, one of the first lessons that I learned in ministry is that ministry is largely self-feeding, because if you're not, eating from the Lord's table, you're gonna try to get scraps wherever you go. But in a way, the pre-conference, it feels like a feast in the Lord.
Mm.
In a way that it's so communal.
Mhm.
It's a form of, as Huey shared in a prior episode, right? Your soul is getting fed. And just as much as we are hearing the word and encouragement in the word, or sometimes even correction in the word, I think that the pre-conference itself is so worth it because of the relationships that we gain. And I remember, speaking in a slightly lighthearted manner, last year when we were in Dallas, there was a group of parents and aunties, basically from my church, who attended the Rooted conference. And by the time they arrived in the pre-conference and by the end of the conference, they were known as like Dorothy's church aunties. Uh, but they said that it was just such an eye-opening experience because the Rooted Conference isn't just for those who are in youth ministry. It's also for parents. It's for people who are in next gen and family ministry. And so it's not just so niche that you're only talking about teenagers, but it's really understanding the family and the fabric of, the tapestry of God. And I think especially in ethnic churches, family ministry is like the pinnacle, right? Although I feel like that is yet a direction that can receive more care and structure and attention, but this is really a great stepping stone as we think about what it means to thrive for an immigrant church. So
Mm.
for sure, worth it to go. And it could be scary just because you might go in by yourself, but
Mhm.
bear in mind, like there's others who are also going by themselves, and just look for us. We will want to talk to you and try to, get a sense of where you are, but also connect you maybe with other people too. So
Yeah. Mhm.
there's not too much that can be said about the pre-conference. However, I think uh, for some who might be agonizing, if you want to pay money to change your flight or something like that, I would say do it and pray that your church can reimburse you for that change fee. Otherwise. But more importantly, again, this is a very deliberate space for Asian Americans at the pre-conference or at the conference itself, and who knows, maybe there will be a book freebie. We'll have to check with Danny on that.
Yeah, we had one last year.
We did have one last year.
That was awesome.
We can
Book release.
replug again that if you've not heard of it, there's the Jesus I Wish I Knew in High School Asian American edition, and written by some of our friends and colleagues within the Rooted Ministry. That was a free copy last year. I'm not sure if that will be free again this year, but maybe we can bring some extras, or you can buy it from the 10 of those bookstore. Uh, well, is there anyone here who's curious about how to sign up about the pre-conference? Because I sure am. So, Terrence, can you tell our listeners how do we sign up for the pre-conference? Because obviously we've convinced them.
Oh yeah, I mean, who's not going to go there? Everyone's going to go. Well, I mean, the quickest way to sign up is to go to our website, rootedministry.com. And if you click on the conference link, it has not only the information for the conference, there's also the link to go to sign up for pre-conferences. And the fuller descriptions of both pre-conferences are available on that page. And so I encourage you guys to check that out, as well as, our blog resources, podcasts, and get to know us a little bit better. But that's a quick place to go.
For sure, for sure. So that is $35. It's a lunch fee, honestly, but again, for the amount of time that you have, and if I can say lightheartedly again, it's from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. because, we don't want to just have a quick meal. We want to draw it out as long as possible. So that's the amount of fellowship that you can have uninterrupted. But it's really a blessed time. Exchange some numbers, find your next retreat speaker, whatever it may
Oh
be.
yeah.
For sure, for
No,
sure.
that's for real. For real. Yeah.
Wait, did you get recruited because of the pre-conference too?
I mean, this past year, and not to tangent, but we also have a mentorship cohort that is Asian American as well. So when that's being offered next year, and we'll talk about this at the pre-conference for sure about how to get into that. This year has been a year that's been really joyful for me because I've been involved in that, and I've gotten to actually meet and also serve with various mentees where they're at. So it's been great. It's even taken us across country lines to do ministry. So yeah, this is really truly a regathering, a family reunion whenever we get together for this pre-conference.
Okay. There you have it, folks. If you aren't yet already convinced, listen to this podcast yet again. So that being said, we are so eager to look ahead and prepare for the Rooted Conference this month. And we are excited also to meet you and to see how the Lord is able to draw us together as we're reminded to, keep our gaze fixed on Him. We know that it's been kind of a tough season of ministry for some of us, transitions for others, but really Rooted as a whole for the conference, it's like an annual homecoming, perfect time of year. So this is the Rooted HOCO, if you can, rephrase it that way. But yeah, I think it's just going to be such a joy to be together, and we would like to share in that joy with you. So that being said, y'all, thank you so much for listening to the Rooted Asian American Youth Ministry Roundtable podcast today. And we look forward to the next time that we get to chat. And until then, may the Lord keep you and bless you, make His face shine upon you. And we trust that in the death and resurrection of Christ, transforming our homes and churches, we can also see more of how He is transforming us as well. To find out more about Rooted, the conference, you can be sure to visit the website at therootedministry.com/conference and follow this podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or at Instagram at The Rooted Ministry. We hope to see you in Lake Forest, Illinois, i.e. Chicago, I guess. But we want to talk to you soon, especially at the conference. If not, sign up already, and then we'll see you there. Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you.
All right, bye.